we were gonna do, or what we thought to do. We're gonna do a couple of things for Jay today, celebrate this incredible career. But one of the things we wanted to do was pick the best Jay-Z verse on each Jay-Z album.
Yes, I love that idea. That's your idea too, and it's a great idea.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Reasonable Doubt. Best verse on Reasonable Doubt. Now,
I have it all.
I don't want to steal my man Kareem Biggs' answer, but the first verse on Dead Presidents 2 is always special to me. But I might pick the verse from Bring It On.
Okay. I think personally, like when you talk Dead Presidents, I think the third verse is better than the first verse. Because I feel like that part of how you feel about where I'm from, it's like, oh no, it's just the part where he said, I dabbled in crazy weight. Without rap, I was crazy straight. Partner, I'm still spending money from 88. Like
no,
when he said,
who on the bet us that we don't touch leather, stack cheddars forever, live treacherous, all the et ceteras.
The Soviet, the unified steady flow, you already know you light. I'm heavy row, heavy dough, Mike Machete, your flow, your paper falls slow like confetti. Mine's a steady grow. There you go.
Mind
Pay
you,
5 in it
this
for
is
blow.
my personal favorite Jay-Z song.
But I believe I have 1160 to show.
My
flow flip like Taekwon. Jay-Z the icon. Baby, you like Dom. Maybe this Chris Styles will change your life, huh?
Throw it to winners. Heavy spinners like Hit Records.
But even with that being said, Mike.
But I like people saying the second verse of Can I Live.
Okay, so Reasonable Doubt has so many best verse contenders on there, and all of those verses are proper and appropriate.
22 twos?
Nope. Mike, the second verse of The Evils
okay.
is the best verse on Reasonable Doubt, in my opinion.
Somebody said that earlier before we got into
the second verse on The Evils was my pick, Mike.
No, that's a great pick.
Because when he's talking about that situation, that's what I mean. It is like, well, even if you was in the streets, if you wasn't like a certain age, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, that was some street education right there. About thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers. He didn't learn, so in return, I'm kidnapping his baby mothers. My hand behind dollars, feeding the cheese. She said the taste.
That song is just different.
About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. I kept feeding her money till the shit started to make sense. Who could ever foresee? We used to play all night at slumber parties. Now I'm trying to rock his bitch to sleep. All the years we were real close. Now I see his fears through her tears. No, she wishing we was real close. Yeah. Don't cry. It is to be. I'll take your misery and make it mine.
And then the Snoop sample in there,
and the Prodigy sample.
Yeah, it's very it's very spiritual, man. Like,
I think The Evils is arguably the best joint on Reasonable Doubt, but that's the best verse to me.
It's definitely the X Factor record on the album, right? Like, I always feel like great albums have those X Factor songs that put it above the other things in people's catalog.
And the best one-liner on the album is on The Evils. It's not on Can I Live. When people always go to I keep one eye open like CBS, but no, it's not. It's even if Jehovah Witness bet he'll never testify.
Yeah.
Or you draw better be Picasso. Those are the three best one-liners on the album, but it's think
Jay's
about what he's saying.
One-liners.
He is this is what I mean. If you feel like he's the greatest MC of all time, you have evidence. He is the one-liner champ in terms of the stuff that is a punchline but makes you think. Like, even if Jehovah Witness bet he'll never testify, that's different than a Kiss or a Fab one-liner. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
there's an elevated. It's elevated. It's elevated.
I agree with you.
It's elevated.
That's the difference between a B+ guy and an A+ guy.
I was actually thinking that's the difference between getting a 90 on the test and getting a 99.
Yeah,
and you can be A, but you're not A1. Yeah, and he's A1.
And I love Fab, and I hate to bring up Fab, but that's a
I bought up Kiss
example.
Too. I bought up Kiss too.
I love Fab and Kiss. They don't have a one-liner like that.
Nigga, please, like short sleeves, I bare arms. Stay out my way from here on.
Yeah. Clear, gone. Yeah, those guys are different levels.
The butter soft shit from the leather on the Fonz. No, his one-line game different.
Jay is very Michael Jordan-ness in that sense, where it's like people who hold him high for, I would say,
the wrong things.
Yeah, and it's like
they hold him high for the wrong things,
material reasons. No. But you got to really
get into the nuance of what he's saying.
You look at what Michael Jordan's game really was about. It's not about the fact that he had a 48-inch vertical. He shot a lot of shots and scored a lot of points. No, it's different. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Jay, like you said, those one-liners. People don't have bars like that.
Think about this. This is 96, Mike.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody using Picasso and a reference to murder somebody in a line. You draw better be Picasso.
You know the best.
Because if this is not so, like nobody's doing that.
You leave me no choice.
I leave you no voice. Believe you, I hate to do it just as bad as you hate to see it done. Now calm your boys. And then his vocal game. Because I'm finding it a little hard to concentrate with all the noise. Get the point? I'll let you go before you leave. I guess I ought to let you know I need those keys.
Conversational.
That was different. Like nobody.
What do you think about Cashmere Thoughts? Because I always loved his bar work on that. Too.
That's the first verse.
Errol Flynn. Well, I like the second verse too.
I talk jewels. I talk jewels and spit diamonds. More cherry like a hymen. When I'm rhyming with remarkable timing. Caviar and silk dreams. My voice is linen. Spitting venom. I'm bitten the minds of young women. Mink thoughts could make thoughts type similar. Might you remember? My shit is cool like December. Smoother than Persian rugs, cashmere, chromosomes, make a nigga jigga, Jay-Z lethal drugs. Yeah, he's different.
Yeah, those guys that we mentioned don't have bars like that.
He's different.
I mean, Errol Flynn, high like heroin, young Princess when I pimp through your Berber win. I got to keep your chicks intact.
That's what I mean. Okay. Like Reasonable Doubt is like a manifesto like on like how to rhyme, like street rhymes, but make it intelligent, articulate, believable. Like Cashmere Thoughts, I think Cashmere Thoughts was the verse that actually got a rhyme of the month in the source when it came out. But it might be like the 8th strongest verse on the album, Mike.
Oh, yeah, straight up.
Like Dead Presidents 2, verse 1 and 3 is better. The Evils, verse 2 and 3 is better. Can I Live, verse 2 is better.
Do you think
Bring It On, verse High Post, like Hakeem, I Gleam, got a lot of things. Like he's crazy on that album.
Yo, the Bring It On verse is crazy.
I thought about that.
I think when him and Sauce Money get together, it's just, you know, it's elevated. Do you think that they knew that Reasonable Doubt was going to just kind of go over people's heads and they were just cool with that? Like, he was able to cement himself with a solid foundation as a great MC. And it's like, okay, now I can go out here and chase hits. But you know you can go back and see that this happened.
I think they knew it went over people's head because it was probably about 6 months into the album before people were like, oh.
It's a timepiece.
And I was one of those people. This is what I'm saying. This is why this is what I'm saying. 96J is a hustler who knows how to rhyme. 97J is the guy that understands the way that he's talking on Reasonable Doubt is going over too many people's heads because very few people are living the life that he's living, and his demographic is about 10 years younger than him. Exactly. Guys like me and you. And that's why I love 97 Hove so much, because it's all the street nuance, but he didn't dumb down the story. He told less of the story so that you could hear more of the MC.
What's the best verse on Volume 1? And we should have fun with this because I know Volume 1's a personal favorite of yours.
It is.
I think that Jay-Z's best verse...
Streets is watching verse 3. I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah, I think that's his best verse. So I'm going to elect that one. But just for shits and giggles, I'll name another one. Second verse of Imaginary Play is special.
Yep. So there's 3 contenders on this album. You just named 2 of them. It's Imaginary Players verse 2. Streets is watching verse 3. But Mike, I'm going with Where I'm From verse 2 because
that's a memorable one.
Like when he's like, that's what I'm saying. When nobody, even the third verse of Where I'm From, whether you're 4 feet or minute size, it always starts out with 3 dice and shoot the 5. Niggas thought that. This is what I mean. See, you may not understand what it's like to kidnap somebody's baby mother, but you know how to shoot CeeLo though if you're from the streets. And that's what I mean when it's like, oh no, he kept it street, but he broke it down in terms that you can understand. It's like, oh no, I didn't understand the evils until I was older. I understood Where I'm From instantly. It's like, where boosters in abundance, bought a half-price sweater new. It's like, yep. It's like, yep, boosters, I know that place.
Abundance by just the way that he's framing that. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
And that's why I love Ghost, right? And that's why I love Jay. He could have easily just said, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, hit the street corner, buying a, you know, a new sweater, whatever. He said, where the boosters are abundance, buy a half-price sweater new.
Look.
That's poetry right there.
This time is platinum. Like the shit on my wrist and this Glock on my waist. Y'all can't do shit about this. It's like, oh no, that's way easier to understand than politics as usual and feeling it. And that, like, he made it easier, but his MC game was still there. And that's why I value Volume 1 so much. It's his rap ass album. It's not the Hustler's rap album. It's a rapper who like used to hustle and he's transitioning, and he transitioned as flawlessly and as seamlessly as anybody ever did. But Where I'm From verse 2 would be my pick.
How's that second verse go? You got these young cats talk. Man.
Now you
I
got
love
these
the
young cats
I
talking like
got
they
these
slum cats, all in they dumb raps, talking about how they fun stack. When I see them in the streets, I don't see none of that. Damn, Playboy, where the fuck's the Hummer at? Where's all the ice with all the platinum under that? Those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the fuck you done to that? This was the best part, and this is what I mean. Y'all funny to me, selling records, being you, but still you want to be me.
I guess for every buck you get, it's like 100 for me.
Still you running around like you got something on me, but I done did it. Niggas want to take my flow,
run with it. That's cool. I was the first one with it. Original, Jig is the future flow, digital, still busting the gap when shit gets critical. Sit it down. I don't want y'all to get it confused. I rip it down. I ain't got nothing to lose.
Even the way he broke up his words, it's like, no, New York cats weren't breaking up their words like that.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, in the game so deep, fiends could catch a freeze off my kneecaps. That line had Big shook, according to C's. Jay was more intricate than Big. It's better lyricist at the time.
It's better lyricist.
Volume 2. What's Jay-Z's best verse on Volume 2?
I want to hear your thoughts about this because this was one of the tougher ones to find.
It was. And the Reservoir Dogs stood out, but I'm going to go... Man, I don't know, man. I think I might go with the last verse on It's All Right. On the Jewels, I blew more money than Latrell. Whew. It's so cold, man. Like the way he came in on that shit.
I feel you. I'm going to surprise you with this. I think the third verse on Nigga What Nigga Who's the best verse.
I figured you were going to go with Nigga What Nigga Who. You wasn't surprising me. I figured you were
People think it's the second verse. It's the third verse. Left him in the cold like a big sweater. Nigga threw two at me. I threw four back. Way before Big had the gold act, Dame had the Lex Black. Motherfuckers want to test that, stress that, and right where you stress that, where you rest that. I suggest that niggas invest in a vest when I come through with the Glock jet black. You niggas step back. I'm the best at. You know I know apprentice of this. Me and my niggas, we invented the shit. I came into the business of this. The originator, none great. When he did that shit, I was like,
that's a great verse.
It is a great verse. People don't talk about it because people don't talk about that verse because it's like a Timberland beat and it's a big hit. It's like no, he's smashing.
No, he's
smashing. I suggest niggas invest in a vest. When I come through with the Glock jet black, you niggas step back. I'm the best at. You know, no apprentice of this. Me and my niggas, we invented this shit. I came into the business of this. The originator, none greater.
Well, let me rethink my verse out because I got that last verse on the Jewels. I blew more money than Latrell. Well, think that you jail like flubber. I hover above the city in the private jet. Live is set. Pressure breaks. Feds want to investigate. Mr. I don't cop nothing. Less than 8. And anything involved with my name, regardless of the fame, is hard. I can't even walk through Harlem again. Charge it to the game. I'm platinum like American Express. My boy died. All I did was inherit the stress to make every jam tougher. You ain't my man. Fuck you. I suggest let you live. Right?
Negative. Here's how I feel about It's All Right, too. It's All Right to me is a bonus track on Volume 2.
So you aren't counting the bonus.
I'm not
counting.
That
was on the streets to watch it, too. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, oh, no. If we're talking about, like, the album itself, when it got made, it's like, no, that Nigga What Nigga Who verse. It's not the second verse. It's the third verse. Because I also felt like the two niggas did through two of me. I threw four back. I felt like that was a shot at somebody. I felt like that was a shot.
That shit was crazy.
See, I like Petty J.
What about the week ago second verse? Because I thought about that one too.
Ooh, what he's I feel the first one. I just sat with no speech on the phone.
Yeah.
Check it out there bleaching your dome. He said, man, you think shit sweet from your home because you're home. From then I knew the beef was on. That's great, but it's not the pull off. How about this? That's more classic Jay, but the pull off of Nigga What Nigga Who, because he's talking.
No, you're right. The flow's crazy.
He's talking like that on a hit record.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that niggas invest in a vest when I come through with the Glock jet black. You niggas step back. I'm the best at. You niggas ain't no. It's Nigga
that
What
verse
Nigga
is
Who.
crazy.
That shit crazy.
Volume 3. I'm gonna go do it again, man.
I thought about do it again, so this is what I said. It's between the do it again verse. But Mike, Come and Get Me, verse 2.
Come and Get Me is dope.
I made it so you could say Marcy and it was all good. I ain't crossover. I bought the suburbs to the hood. Made them relate to your struggle. Went on MTV with do-rags. I made them love you. You know normally people wouldn't be fucking with you till I made them understand why you do what you do. I expected to hear Jay if it wasn't for you, but instead all I hear is buzzing in your crew. How y'all scheming trying to get accustomed to my moves so y'all can take me out, stake out my house. But I got pride, I'm a nigga first. I gotta cock back and let the trigger work. That's how Jigga work. The funny thing, I represent y'all every time I spit a verse, and that's the shit that hurts. But hey, I got my mind right, got my 9 right here. So if y'all feel that the timing's right, woo!
I'm hearing Snoopy track. I see a so ghetto third verse. Now I'm going to do it again, man.
What? Think jig is a joke,
How the-
nigga. Hardy hard. No, that's not it. It's do
Nah.
it. It's do it again.
How the fuck you gonna talk about them C's on the hill? We just
got
cop them things, homie, the chromey wheels. Both arms chunky, the sleeves all chill. Any given time, 100 G's in your grill. Don't talk to me about them C's got skills. He's all right, but he's not real. Jay-Z's that deal with Siegs in the field. Never feel for war, hug, squeeze that still. Fuck, you got a flow that's cool with me. You got a little cause, little jewelry. Nah, I skipped the part. I was thinking about the Kane thing, man. I always go back to that.
I seen the same shit happen to Kane.
Who is he
3 cuts
talking
in your
about?
eyebrows. She's talking about the locks. 3 cuts in your eyebrows trying to wild out. That's literally why Wild Out was out off We Are the Streets.
I always thought that was LL shot, but hey, I could be wrong.
I felt like that was a lock shot.
From
Reservoir Dogs, because if you know the Reservoir Dogs story, the Locks wasn't too happy about how they got that call last minute.
Right.
And that's why Styles is literally on the record. I don't give a fuck who you are, so fuck who you are. Right? Who you think he talking about on Reservoir Dogs?
Right.
Jay ain't dumb.
What about Dynasty?
Dynasty, and I put this in my notes. The Dynasty might be the toughest pick because this is the real switch where the lyricism does go down. The quote unquote classic traditional all time great lyricist does kind of take a step back. It's not volume 2 where he takes a step back. He's still got stuff on there. It's not volume 3.
Theme song to The Sopranos.
I knew you got that. Mike,
Yeah.
You want to know what I still think it is though? I feel, first of all, I'm not a big fan of the Dynasty intro like everybody else. Like everybody thinks it's like one of his like top records.
It's one of the greatest intros of all time.
I don't feel that way. I feel it's more the beat. And that's weird that I say that about somebody like Jay, where I feel like it's more the beat because that beat's pretty fucking ill. Mike, it's still that verse on 1-900 Hustler to me.
The 1-900 Hustler.
Because that's classic Jay to me. Here's a couple of suggestions on how you could finesse it. You find a dude in town, you send them a short message. Say, hey, I'm new in town. I don't know my way around, but I got some soft white that should have come back brown. I got that butter all night because most niggas don't know a brick from a, they see buying hard white. And if you free tomorrow night, I can meet and discuss price. FYI, I never been robbed in my life. Or
I think
I
think the people in the chat are agreeing with me with the theme song to The Sopranos.
No,
Plays in the key of life in my mental piano. Got a strange way of seeing like Stevie Wonder with beads under the do-rag.
I never felt it the way everybody else felt it. Give me 1-900 Hustler.
Web Visibility with a super chat says, it should be noted that Jay-Z performed for Louis Vuitton with Pharrell 5 months ago, but didn't perform any at Hip Hop 50 events. Well, you know, I got that noted.
I'm not gonna.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday. We're gonna let that slide. We're not gonna talk that way today.
The Blueprint. Best verse on The Blueprint.
Oh, Mike.
Huh.
So I got some notes.
So I got some notes. You know what? If we want to just talk about bar work, I might go with All I Need.
Which is my favorite song, personally.
The last verse.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, them verses on You Don't Know, man. I came into this motherfucker 100 grand strong. 9 to be exact from grind to G. I don't know, man. Put this shit in motion. Ain't no rewinding me back. I don't know.
I forgot some of my J notes quick.
Go ahead.
I was meaning to say this when we were talking about Volume 3. Well, Volume 3 is the second most bootleg album ever after I Am. Because the original version to Volume 3 had the real version of Is That Your Bitch on there and Anything by Jay-Z.
There's a lot of bootlegging going on in 98, 99.
Okay. I realized something too when I was going through this, especially when I listened to Volume 3 and I listened to the Timbo tracks. That whole little frail ass conversation Timbaland and Pharrell was having. Oh, you did this. Timbaland's got
that.
Mike, he don't just got it. He whooping Pharrell ass on the J tracks.
Yeah, he is.
Timbo and Jay got something special.
I love the Neptunes.
I don't care how much you love them.
I love
niggas.
the Neptunes, but
Timbo,
I gotta be honest.
Timbo, when I was listening to Come and Get Me, and I was thinking about Is That Your Bitch? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So best verse on The Blueprint. Or unless you have some more notes.
Lyrical exercise.
So some people are saying. I feel that.
It's lyrical exercise.
Do you think that
pick a verse?
Honestly, man, what about the Takeover verse though?
It's some honorable mention.
Yeah,
how about this?
That's strong.
You want to know what I think? I think the Takeover is actually one of his better songs.
It is.
End to end.
Yeah.
I got to dip for like 2 seconds, Mike, because Sade, the artist, just got here to help set up the studio. I got to kind of direct traffic right quick, and I got to jump right back in. I need 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Impromptu, because...
All right, cool. Let's see what the people thinking in here. I want to get some of y'all opinions with the super chat or whatnot while Coop's gone for a second. What do y'all think the best verse is on Reasonable Doubt? I do want to see what y'all think the best verse is on Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, The Dynasty, and shoot, we're at the Blueprint now. I'm going to read some of these comments too. Oh, man, you're already going to the Blueprint too. Jay's the MC for real. Killed it at the show. Girls, Part 2 verse. You know what? My thing about the Girls record, I feel like Part 2 might have actually been created first. It feels like Girls, the concept and the beat probably was made first. I don't have any confirmation on this, but it seems like Just Blaze might have went back after the fact and basically created what we know of as Girls at this moment. Never Changed third verse. It's a great verse too. Jay got a lot of one-liners on the Blueprint. I think that's what makes the Blueprint special. And like I said earlier, I think the Blueprint's one of those records that even with the holes, like the Jigga My Nigga, and I think Renegade's a hole. I don't really love Renegade like that. Not saying that as an Eminem non-fan, if you will, but the production on Renegade just doesn't fit the album. And I never thought the production on the song Renegade was strong. I don't think the song fits the album at all anyway. But even with those things going on with the Blueprint, I think that the highlights of the Blueprint is just so high, it carries the album over. And honestly, with the Jay and Nas thing that was going on at the time, the anticipation for the Blueprint was super high. So Jay had the songs to actually counter that as well. And I think Izzo being debuted at the not BET Hip Hop Awards, the BET Awards, the first annual one, I think that created the buzz for, what he was doing with the soul samples anyway. You want to go to, they said Eminem had the best verse on the Blueprint. Okay.
I mean, Freeway had the best verse on the Dynasty album. We're talking about Jay's best verses on his albums.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, if you look at Renegade in a vacuum, sure, but I just don't think that song fits the album, just my opinion.
I mean, I wanted to say something quick about Lyrical Exercise again while we're still in the Blueprint. So as somebody that is traditionally, sided to the other side, I wasn't lyrically impressed with the Blueprint. I was more impressed with his growth as an artist.
And the songmaking.
And the songmaking ability. But then Lyrical Exercise came on, Mike. And people forget, and this is what I mean, how history is different now. When you pull up Volume 3 now, like on music platforms, Is That Your Bitch and Anything are on there. They weren't on there. When you pull up the Blueprint now, it has Lyrical Exercise and Girls Part 2 as separate records. You feel what I'm saying?
I was just telling the people while you were gone, I feel like Girls 2 was probably made first.
I feel that way too.
I feel like that, but I do.
It feels
because
that way.
I feel like Kanye, again, was the actual blueprint of the Blueprint.
But, Mike, I say this, and I'm not joking when I say this. When I heard Lyrical Exercise, that's the record that made me worried, because I think Lyrical Exercise is his best end-to-end mic performance since Volume 1.
He was in a zone on the Blueprint. And, and again, the zone wasn't just on some lyrical miracle stuff. Like you said, he was in a song-making zone. But he was knocking these records out, as they say, in a week or so. I think one of the biggest missteps, and I'm not just saying this as, Mike D from A2HH Live, I think one of the biggest missteps on the Blueprint is him forcing Renegade on the album.
You've always said that.
It created this narrative that Eminem can out-rap him, number one, and it was a play for Jay to sell some records.
There's literally 222 people in the chat right now. It's like 22 twos.
22 twos in the building. But no, I don't think that Jay had faith in the songs on the Blueprint actually selling the album. So he wanted to get Eminem on there. Eminem had just sold an astronomical amount of records, and he figured that, okay, well, if songs like Izzo ain't gonna move the needle, I don't really have a Give It To Me on here, but I can get Eminem sales. Or if worse come to worse, I could put out Jigga That Nigga Jigga, because if you remember, even on the Unplugged, he performed that record because he thought that was a hit.
No.
It wasn't. No, I agree.
So when you criticize Renegade, here's my problem with the criticism of Renegade. It's better than Hola Ho Vito. It's better than Jigga That Nigga. It is. It's a better song. And so when you're saying it doesn't
Production
fit,
wise, it's not better.
I think it's production wise better too. Definitely Hola Ho Vito. Like Hola Ho Vito is the weakest Timberland and Jay-Z combination song.
If I heard those beats as a rapper, right? I heard those 3 beats. I'm picking the Renegade beat last. Now I will give Eminem props. He can make a trash beat sound decent when he jumps on it and does what he does. But you could tell the way Jay was rhyming on there, and Jay wasn't whack on there, but just rhythmically, he wasn't feeling that track.
Okay, so how about this? He was still when you talk about the girls part 2 thing. Here's how I feel. First of all, the beat, the girls 2 is better. Kanye. Don't we all agree about that? I'm gonna give Kanye's credit. We're gonna give Kanye some credit. The beat is better, but I think
I don't know. I think Just did his thing. I
think girls got remade. Like part 1 is really part 2.
I think so too,
because he wasn't up to snuff on the part 2 that we heard.
Yeah.
Because his rhyme scheme and the way he put the story together on the one that got released as a single, and song making wise, putting Q-Tip, Slick Rick, and Biz Markie singing background on the hook.
Whose idea do you think that was?
I think that was actually Jay's idea because Jay doesn't get enough credit for being ahead. He's one like Jay isn't just one of our greatest MCs of all time. He isn't just arguably the greatest MC of all time. He's one of the biggest heads ever. And so I think when he heard I feel like he did the record with Kanye first. And when he heard that, the head in him knew he was missing something. And he knew that he didn't come with his A game. He came with A game, but he didn't come with his A game. And his A game at that time was as good as anybody's A game as did. And I think he evaluated himself, knew it. And that's what I mean about, like, when I listen to the original version of Girls, that's what I mean when it's like, oh no, his song making ability is at an all-time zenith. Mm-hmm. Because to use 3 of hip hop's most unique voices at different times.
That reeks of Kanye West to me.
I'm sorry. It reeks of Jay's genius.
And I also believe that Kanye probably made the first Girls, which was part 2. Yes. And Jay probably was like, oh, let me get on that.
And didn't really bring his A game.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't really bring his A game to it. But when sitting down and scoping it out, this is what I mean about his song making level being different. I think 97 Hove, who I love, would have put out Girls Part 2 and wouldn't have went back and made a more full and complete record, because Girls Part 1 is a better record to me, but it's all about the things that accomplish it. It's when you can literally hear Slick girls.
Yeah,
it's different.
With those voices, man, that sounds like a producer. But again, Jay is ahead. So
Jay's ahead.
But we know that
it's his birthday, Mike.
Kanye
it's his birthday. Let's stop
Q-Tip's son. So
let's stop
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, my story is similar to y'all's. I hated Jay until college. A dream caught my attention, and Hovey Baby is when I realized that he's like that.
Hovey Baby is special.
All right, well, on to Blueprint 2. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Jigga, what flow was crazy? Why didn't Hove do that flow more often?
Because that's his old flow.
It's like if MJ were to hit 11 3-pointers in a game and then never attempt them again.
I mean, Mike, you also know this too. Lyrically speaking, you can probably do everything that you used to do when you used to rap. Delivery and flow-wise, Mike, can you do the same stuff that you used to do when you was 20, 21, 22?
Probably not. I got to get back in the gym and get some running.
Right. So when people are like, why don't Jay rap like that more often? It's like, you understand he was rhyming like that 10, 15 years before, like, you heard some of that stuff. And when you get a little bit older, some of that breath control. No, that shit just harder. That's why when we hear somebody like an AZ who still sounds the same, or a Nas who still sounds the same, or a Raekwon who still sounds the same, we're like, wow, how the fuck did you do that? Because
okay, look at this. You're going to love this. Better album poll is completed with 135 votes. Low End Theory had 51% to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies, 48%. So they're on the same level.
They're not, but it's nice that people tried to cape for Ye like you do.
Hey, man, just got to be honest, man. I think the Low End Theory is the better album, but I don't think it's ridiculous.
Let me ask you something. Okay, so when do you think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is better than The Blueprint?
I do, actually. I prefer The Blueprint, but if I'm being objective here, and we're talking about song for song, track for track, and just as a complete body of work, I would have to say so.
Do you think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is better than Reasonable Doubt?
I don't. Personally, because of the lyrical performance.
And that's what I mean about the gap, because Reasonable Doubt, in my opinion, is on Low End Theory level. Right. There's levels to this.
But see, again, I got Low End Theory over Reasonable Doubt. So
I do too, but it's like barely.
But I mean, I think they're all on the same level.
Because I think Low End Theory would be on the back end of my top 10, and Reasonable Doubt would be on the 10 to 15 scale. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is not operating in that realm. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or B?
For me, it would be B, but I could see if somebody said My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
See, now we're having a Hell Hath No Fury conversation because I think B is better end to end, but the highs on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But I'm always going to take the end to end player.
Blueprint.
Ain't no blame game on B.
No, you're right. So I'm gonna say B. I mean, where the food, the live version fits in on that album is brilliant.
It's stellar.
It's brilliant.
It's stellar.
Right after Shy City, which is my personal favorite song.
That's your favorite song on B?
It really is. I love that record, man. It's well, The Corners I think might be the best record on the
Corners
album.
the best record on there.
But I personally love Shy City and that sample. And at the end, when Kanye comes in there, na 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 na, and you say Shy City, that shit is crazy. I rap with the passion of Christ.
Nigga cross me.
Took it out of space, and niggas thought they lost me. I'm back like a chiropractic and D-boy survival rap. This ain't 94, Joe. We can't go back. Game need a makeover. Yeah. I like when Common's rhyming like that.
I'm a takeover.
Tell these halftime niggas breaks over.
You like how he did the J Nas thing in back-to-back bars?
Yeah, he almost got himself in trouble, but it wasn't like
whatever. He can get himself in trouble with nothing.
Blueprint 2. 7 straight summers critics might not admit it, but nobody in rap did it quite like I did it. You did it, I done it before. You get it, I had it, got mad at it, and don't want it no more. That goes from everything from flipping that raw, flipping horse, flipping vocal cords, don't get it twisted, get it right, did it better, did it different, did it nice, did the impossible, then did it twice, get it right.
I feel like the two best verses on that album, you actually hear them back to back. That's Hovey Baby verse 3, and then The Watcher verse 1. So take your pick.
That was verse 2.
No, I think verse 3 on Hovey Baby is
better.
You
like the Hovey's home, the global phone, all right.
The best overall mic performance is Hovey Baby.
Of course.
That beat leaves a little bit to be desired, but he's so brilliant on there that it's like you almost forget that the beat is even like fucking playing.
What do you think about the Blueprint 2 song?
I don't.
Where the second verse where he's going in on Nas, like, hey man, that shit's strong.
The Takeover is way stronger than that. That's what I'm saying.
The Takeover is stronger as a full song, but his mic performance on that, can't y'all see that he's fake? The rap version of TD Jakes prophesizing on your CDs and tapes.
See, here's the thing. When you talk that way now, well, you sampled his voice. You bought him up on your first single. You bought him up on Where I'm From on the Best MC thing. So it's like when my problem with the Blueprint 2 is it's almost like, well, you're retracting statements now. Like on the Takeover, he explained, went from top 10 to not mention at all. Tell your bodyguards, Uchi Wally verse better than y'all. The context is different. On the Blueprint 2, he trying to make it seem like this dude is whack. It's like, you love this dude. You just said it was you, him, and Big. You just sampled his verse.
Yeah.
You just sampled The World Is Yours. You just started off the first single on your second album saying body crazy, tits firm like Nature Foxy, Nas and AZ. It's like, you've been using this man's hooks, been mentioning him, been bigging him up as one of the best MCs, and then all of a sudden he's fake, the rap version of TD Jakes. Context matters. On the Takeover, the reason why the Takeover is so special, he's talking the way we talk.
Yeah.
He's talking the way the streets was
like
talking.
He fell off.
Yeah, he wasn't talking like he had a beef. He was talking like, tell your bodyguards, Uchi Wally versus better than yours. But the sun don't shine. Sun don't shine. It's only long sake. Nigga, you ain't witness. You witness from your folks' past and scribbled your life. I showed you your first tech on tour with Large Perfect. He's talking he's talking different. The Blueprint 2 sounds like, my problem with the Blueprint 2 as a whole, the song and the album, he's just trying too hard. Hovey Baby's effortless. The Watcher's effortless. Jay is at his best.
I felt like he was trying hard on The Watcher, in my opinion.
He was. But he was still doing Jay stuff. Like when he's saying, you niggas seen a Rob report, i.e. you niggas ain't know how to floss since I stepped in the door like Eric B. Respect me in this bitch. No, that's Jay. Like he's being Jay on there. Like the Blueprint 2, that's not Jay. Jay doesn't come at people like that when he comes from. Jay is, you little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you. All your niggas get is half a bar. Fuck y'all niggas. Fell from top 10 to not mention at all. That's how Jay really talks. So when Jay's best talk is when you're yourself. You always want to see the best version of somebody. Blueprint 2 is not the best version of himself to me.
The Black Album kind of is. Got a lot of great verses on the Black Album.
I'm interested to hear what your...
I'm going to say his last verse on What More Can I Say?
That was a contender to me, Mike. I think it's Threat verse 2.
I figured you were gonna go Threat.
Threat. First of all, Threat's the best Mike performance on the Black Album, and it's one of his best Mike performances ever. Like cast the oil, I cast the Troy. You change your face, but the bullets change all that for you. Lift up your whole hood like you got oil under it. Your boy got the goods. Y'all don't want none of it. Valet a couple strays from the 38 special. Nah, it's Threat to me.
DJ Bruce Almighty says sleeper pick Diamonds is Forever on Blueprint 2. Interesting.
Yeah.
The
bars
I never
are there.
liked that record.
The bars are there. The bars are. It's Jay, so like the bars are gonna be there.
Kingdom Come.
That was tough because
That wasn't tough for me.
what is it?
Just when they thought it was all over, I put the whole world on my back and broad shoulders. The boy Hobo, who you know, talk all over tracks like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kingdom Come third verse, even though he does have that step in the booth, loosen up my ties. And I was like, step inside the booth, Superman is alive.
I think that the verse on Minority Report is actually the best verse on the album.
Really?
It is. Because here's what I noticed too when I listened to Kingdom Come, because I listened to Kingdom Come again today. It was rough. Because it's not a good album.
No.
And I noticed a couple things, because we're going to talk about this. We're going to segue just briefly. First of all, what Kingdom Come is a precursor to 444. And he should have used records like Lost Ones, Kingdom Come, and Minority Report as reference points. And he didn't. Because the same stuff that's being spoken about on 444 is on those records.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's a reflective and more grown-up Jay who's actually assessing a cultural and socioeconomic situation. Just does it poorly on 444. But as much as I don't love like Neo on Minority Report, when I was listening to his verse today, it's like, that may have been the first time I heard Jay talk about us.
Yeah.
Like from a perspective of our plight, our situation, and even using Kanye's George Bush doesn't care about black people sample. That's what 444 should have been. But I also realized something too, Mike. When he was on Threat, because I was listening to Threat, for 3 years they had me pissing out of a cup. And when I thought about that, it made me realize, and this is my hot take, Mike, the case had something to do with his retirement so he could stay out of the limelight. Because when we as blacks get in trouble with the law and we stay in the limelight, they tend to come for us harder. And he was our most notarized figure. And I think some of the retirement wasn't just a 50 thing. It was literally ducking low from the cops and from the authorities because he was our biggest figure. He was literally on parole for stabbing Un, or probation for stabbing Un. He had to lay low, Mike. When he said for 3 years they had me pissing out of a cup, it's like, damn, it's like, that's about how long you've been gone. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, you do the math.
It's like if you do the math, the case and the probation falls in line with the retirement too.
It does.
Because here's the thing. How many times have you seen a rapper end up on probation and they come raid the tour bus?
Right.
How many times has Wayne been caught that way? Meek been caught that way.
You're right.
So his business acumen once again.
And then he went and took a president's job.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other part of it too that I realized when I said that.
Oh, Andrew Williams with the super chat says he admitted that he lost on the Blueprint 2 song, so I don't care about that record. All right, go ahead.
Breaks hurt everybody. Kingdom Come isn't good because Jay took a break. Listen, Mike.
Max says Kingdom Come is his worst album.
It is. Maybe. No, Magna Carta's worse. And so is 444. It's the third worst album. Mike, breaks hurt everybody. Think about it. Who are our 1 and 2 MCs, no matter how you have them picked? It's Jay and Nas, right? How does Nasir sound after that break from Life is Good? Even with all the
rusty.
Look, even with stuff like Echo and Nas' album done in between, Nasir, much like Kingdom Come, bottom 3 or 4 Nas album. Kingdom Come, bottom 3 or 4 Jay album. You want to know why? Because even when you are literally the best that ever did it, if you take a break, it's going to show. What happened to Michael Jordan when he took 18 months off and he came back?
Rusty.
Mike, when you are the best, even the best have chinks in their armor. That's why you got to be at it all.
Stay in practice.
You got to stay in practice, which brings me to my last point. Don't tell me that Kendrick album is good after the break. When Nas and Jay took breaks, they made literally some of their worst material because you have to be shooting in the motherfucking gym.
Well, why you think Drake's coming at Kendrick full stop now? Because he's coming at him.
Because Drake
after he dropped his weakest album.
Because Drake understands the game, and Drake has actually stayed working pretty much this whole time, and he knows he's in more practice and more lyrically fit than Kendrick is right now.
Yeah, it's a Jay move. Like when Jay came in Nas after you made Nostradamus, it's like, okay, you making your weakest effort? Let's go.
Mike, why did you have the Dynasty and the Blueprint 2 in for the beat Jay-Z, one of Jay-Z's best songs?
I didn't do
that. Okay.
Okay. But
so I just wanted to point that out. Jay's break between the Black Album and Kingdom Come. No, that's why Kingdom Come don't sound good. Nas's break between Life is Good and Nasir. That's why Nasir don't sound good. Kendrick's break is just the same. Don't tell me that it's good.
I've said these things. I agree.
I'm just reminding people. Mike, Rakim's break.
Yeah.
From Don't Sweat the Technique to the 18th letter. People are like, man, the 18th letter is uneven. He didn't rap for 5 years regularly.
Yeah. You got to stay in practice.
You got to stay in practice.
What I was going to say is American Gangster. What is the best verse in American Gangster? That's interesting.
So, this is another one of my notes, Mike. This is more GOAT talk for Jay.
I think no hook.
I don't think so. That's close. Jay might be our best primetime performer. As when the lights are brightest, he does show up and perform the best.
Mm-hmm. Because
when I was going through his late stuff, like The Watcher 2 might be the best verse on the Blueprint Part 2. Who's on the Blueprint Part 2, Mike? Well, I mean, who's on the song?
Rakim.
Okay, Mike. So what do you think? I think his best verse is on this album.
Are you thinking on the song with Nas?
I think Success verse 1 is the best verse on here.
I will say this. When Nas is on the record, Jay steps all the way up. Now, I'm not going to agree with you on this one, but I will agree with you on Magna Carta. I think his best verse is on
We're going to talk about that in a minute. I agree. But what I'm saying is that he's a primetime performer. It's like, oh, Rakim going to be in the studio? Yeah. Bet. Nas in the studio? Bet. He's our best primetime performer.
You know who else is like that? T.I. is like that, man.
T.I. is like that.
Whenever anybody...
when the moment's big...
You know what? Honestly, I can't even think of no whack verse that he's giving anybody. But when the moment's big, when A-Ball and MJG is in the building, Big Boy and Ludacris in the building, like, yeah.
That verse on Look at the Grills is crazy.
Nah, yeah.
Look at the Grills is one of my favorite rap songs, like just period.
And then he started it off, too. He did the same thing on that in the A song with Big Boy and Ludacris.
Yeah,
like, But yeah, Jay does that. It's like and I do prime time
and I do think Success is his best verse on there. I got houses I ain't seen in months, apartment in the Trump, I only slept. Yeah, he's talking crazy on there. How many times can I go to Mr. Chow's towels? No boo. Hold up, let me move my bowels. I shit on y'all niggas. Yeah, he's crazy on there.
OG1.
Y'all ain't got shit on my nigga. I got
Miller.
watches I ain't seen in months. Yeah, he's talking crazy on there, but that's because he knows who's sewing up the song.
Yeah.
And I have a quick comment about their records together that I realized today too from like going through them because I got a chance. Like,
well, go ahead.
Those songs with the two of them are better than we realized. And it's because we have so many unrealistic expectations.
I agree.
For both of them individually, like we have unrealistic expectations for them as individuals. So when they step to the mic together, we do expect to hear, like we do want to hear something on a Cream level, on a Nothing But a G Thing level.
Unrealistic.
It's unrealistic because when I went to listen to Black Republican and BBC and Success, I'm like, and these records are fucking fire. It's like, what was I doing? It's like, have I been shitting on these records? And it's like, I kind of have. And the reason I've been shitting on them is because of the two guys. They're our two best MCs of all time. And we expect them to make an all-time great song. Like, when I was listening to the way that they're rhyming on these tracks, they're crazy.
They lack chemistry, but again, they're not a group. You know what I mean? Like,
I think BBC actually has the most chemistry.
I think so, too. And I'm sorry, Andre Miller with the super chat says Jay always loved and respect Nas. Bleak actually started that beef, not Jay or Nas. I disagree with that, but I feel you. I think Bleak just put it in the forefront. You know, I always feel that if you're hearing something out of Bleak's mouth, it's coming from the big homie too.
The competitive fervor is supposed to exist. I told you it's like Magic and Isaiah would kiss right before the game, and then they would try to clothesline each other, Mike.
Clayton is asleep with the super chat. Says, "What's up, y'all? You heard the new Conway and Conductor yet? Love it.
Yeah, we're talking about
Jay Skis and Love the Genius killed their appearances.
They did.
Too.
They did.
Shout out to Love and Jay Skis. We were just
vibing. We've interviewed both of them.
Yeah,
and fortunate enough too. Yeah, they're
fortunate
great.
enough.
They're great MCs. They're not good. They're great. Both of them. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the project when we get done with all this J talk.
I got the no hook verse is the best on American Gangster. Now we're gonna go to the Blueprint 3. Huh. What is the best verse on the Blueprint 3?
I got Already Home verse 2.
Really?
They taught me about fish scale. They want me to fish for them. They want me to cook clean and catch a dish for him. All of this just for him. Or they got a diss for him. Yeah.
I think what we talking about.
I don't like what we talking about. That's what I mean. It's like when what we talking about came on, it's like, I love you, dude. I didn't come for you for that. And that beat is terrible. But
yeah, I didn't love the beat, but his bar work was crazy. I did like Thank You.
I like Thank You third verse. Second and third verse on Thank You was a contender.
Third verse, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was Thank You third verse or Already Home second verse.
Yeah, his bar work on the Blueprint 3 isn't that awesome.
I mean, Mike, to be honest with you, the bar work after the Black Album isn't that great.
But we're going to stay on course.
Right.
Magna Carta Holy Grail, I got a verse from BBC.
I got it between the Fuck Up the World verse 2 or the BBC verse. Mm-hmm. The BBC verse sounds like more natural Jay, and so I'll lean with you on that. And that's when I notice it's like, no, he's a primetime performer, because when I'm going to American Gangster, it's like, in Magna Carta, it's like, oh, your two best verses are with him. That means you understand the moment and know who you're walking into the booth with or sending the record to or whatever.
Okay, so now we got 444. I don't know. You know what? No. I know. First verse of Marcy Me.
I was thinking second verse, Story of OJ.
Okay.
But that was hard.
What an incredible career, though. You know, they even have to go through all those albums.
It's not often that I say this. It's like, he's an easy top 5 MC to pick. Like, I don't care what region you're from. I don't care, what your preference is. If he's not in your top 5, your top 5 is probably personalized and biased. Objectively, he should be in everybody's top 5.
Somebody's talking about, we know Jay cooked Nas on Success. And my personal opinion, I've said this on this show before, I think every time they've done a song together, Jay's had the better verse.
See, this is what I mean. And this is what I realized today. All these beats that they've done together have been more geared towards Jay's style of rapping. It really does feel like Nas is jumping on a beat that was meant to Jay to rap on. Like the Success beat, the way that it draws out and it stops and it goes. That's not built for Nas's flow. That's built for Jay's flow. BBC, that's some Neptune shit. Who sounds better?
Republican.
Who sounds better on Neptune shit, Jay or Nas?
Yeah, Jay.
So it's like, first of all, I don't think that he has a better verse. How about this? For me, the only time where I feel like he has him is on BBC. But I also feel like they both kind of freestyled that and it just ended up on the album.
Yeah, and I will also say this too, and I'm not just saying this. I think that when they collaborate, Jay definitely tries harder than Nas does. And it feels like that. Like even his verse on Black Republican, Nas' verse kind of like, it feels a little dialed in. Like you said, I feel like he tried a little bit harder on BBC, but
Nas is going to write what's on his mind and not care who else is in the room, because he's like, well, I'm Nas. That's why he's like Success, McLaren, Women Staring, My Villain, Appearance, Licking Blood in the King of Ghetto, Othello, Sugar Hill Romero, Camaro Driven, I Climax from Paper and Ask Why Is Life Worth Living. Like, oh no, he's there.
Yeah.
He's there. He's just not trying as hard as Jay. And I'm always going to like keep that in mind. It's like styles make fights, but you also have to understand who you're dealing with. I don't think Nas ever approached any of these. Look at it like this. Nas just turned 50. Jay just turned 54 today. He's 4 years older than Nas. Who got here first? Who's been really more lauded early on? Of course that guy's going to try harder. He's 4 years older and he got to the party 2-3 years later. It's like a 7-year gap. Who you think when they walking in the booth got the chip on their shoulders?
Well, Jay wants to be the best too. So, he's a competitor.
He cares more.
Yeah.
He cares more about it.
Anime Bros with the super chat says, last verse of Heaven. That verse was hard. Max with the super chat says, the product of 444 is Samir.
Let's not do that on his birthday.
No, we're not going to do